I'm today's young girl and a future woman. My name is Virginia, and I will share with you a topic that is very close to my heart, which is women and future women and men who deserve respect and who respect each other, so that we could be all more informed to do our parts as future mothers, fathers, sisters, or simply friends. I will share with you at first some numbers, and then which are really cold, and then we will have together a conversation about the future of women, which is with a more humanistic approach to the topic, and recalling the proper names of many courageous women. So, planet Earth has 7.8 billion inhabitants, of which 3.9 billion are women. This means 49.6% of the whole world population. The countries where women outnumber men are Nepal, Hong Kong, Latvia, Ukraine, and Russia, while the opposite happens in Qatar, Emirates, Oman, China, and India, eating Earth's demography, with a not encouraging peculiarity concerning 312 villages in Uttarakhand, where in 2019, 216 male children were born against 0 females. Due to selective abortions for male and religious affairs for preferences for male profiles, or also for surname reasons and inheritance. Isn't it shocking? Despite representing half of the global population, we still don't benefit men's same rights. The conquest of the right to vote, for example, in many countries today is still on the way. Could you believe that also in the advanced Switzerland, women had the right to vote for cantonal district elections only in 1990? Our votes battle started in the 1900s, led by the suffragette movement of Emmeline Pankhurst, inspired by Olympe de Gouges, forerunner of the revolution and the co-author of the Déclaration des droits de la femme et de la citoyenne. As we can see, the first country to grant the right to vote for women was New Zealand in 1893, followed by most European countries, while the latest was Saudi Arabia in 2015, followed by the right to drive in 2018, and to travel owning their own passports only in 2019. Could you believe it? It was just 4 years ago. Anyway, here many girls have graduated university, but just few of them are allowed to work. Worldwide, we earn a wage that is 84% lower than men's earnings. Also, if a salary equality was recognized by the Treaty of Rome in 1957 as load-bearing pillar of the EU. The EU Index of 2022 reveals that none of the member states has yet achieved a real result. Continuing with this slow trend, this goal will be achieved in more than 60 years, and even worse for global equality that will cover 300 years more. Globally, still in 2019, women only occupied 28% of top management positions in companies, and even less in politics. Do you know why? Easy to explain. Politics is the basis of many fundamental choices and decisions for the future of humanity and for the social progress of human beings, so of men and of course of women. Currently, more women hit the political stage, such as the Vice President of US, Kamala Harris, Sheikh Hasina, who is the Prime Minister of Bangladesh, or Ursula von der Leyen, President of the European Commission, Roberta Metsola, President of the European Parliament, Giorgia Meloni, the first Italian Prime Minister, female. Sadly, in most of the world's parliaments are sitting men, and only 25% of the seats are for women. This is where the majority of laws are enacted, so it's easy to understand why women still don't have enough voice to be heard in their needs and rights. In such a bleak panorama, after the genocide of 2014, only the state of Rwanda canceled this gap. And here, over 61.25% of the overall population is hitting the political stage. So, go Rwanda! Keep it up, girls! Another neglected right, receiving an education. For example, in Afghanistan, since 2015, under the Taliban regime, many girls are grown as men. These unlucky daughters are called bachaposh, and they are obliged by their parents to wear male clothes, only because of the family shame to have female children. This often happens to beautiful girls like Ukmina Manori. Ukmina was one of them, but now she's finally free to show her long black hair, but far from home. Another example of neglected rights to feel free is Iran, where the Ayatollah policy forces girls, often against their wills, to fully cover their heads with a hijab. Here, young women who don't want to be invisible and wish to show their black, blonde, red hair are currently victims of execution by a morality police who want to silence their cry of freedom. Only 5 days ago, Armita Garavan, a teenager like us, had the same cruel destiny as Mahsa Amini. In their name, Iranian women keep protesting to be free. Brave girls, thank you for your example. Have you ever heard about 15 million young girls who cannot attend school? It happens almost every day in Nigeria, and medias are silent about this massacre. Here, the military regime of Boko Haram kidnaps girls like Saha. Saha and her 279 peers were punished just because they were attending school in Chibok. After years of tortures and rapes, only 20 of these courageous young students came safely back home. Saha at the time was only 17. She was one of the lucky ones to hug her family members again. Listening to her testimony, you'll understand our luckiness living in this part of the globe. Saha is now freely attending university, taking care of her kids by herself. Free choices should be another indisputable right. Don't you think it's unfair that every year more than 20% of young girls under 18 are forced into marriages? And just for a refusal of their family's will, they're killed or scarred for life using acid? In Bangladesh, the attacks are 150 per year. Bakul was just 13 years old, like her mother before, when she was promised as a wife to an old man by her father, in exchange for a piece of arid land and few cows. She told us of her husband's beatings, even while she was pregnant. Bakul was marked in her body, but now she's finally free to sing and dance like a teenager, away from the beast. Worldwide, we count 2 million, more than 2 million victims, and the only motivation for this cruelty is a no to a father or a lover. Italy is not exempted from this crime. My bel paese, part of the advanced West countries, counts only in 2023 already 137 women killed and 30 victims of acid attacks. This happened to a beautiful girl called Jessica Notaro, who is now courageously showing her own marked face. Jessica Will is currently fighting to change laws and the mentality of both men and women by asking for a campaign of education for the next generations. Her mission, recalling respect as first at home and also in school. Jessica now found a pure and true love. Now, let's talk about some other true stories worth being remembered. There is only one good knowledge and only one evil ignorance, said Socrates, who, educating his young disciples in Athens, tried to raise them as wise and respectful men. while, as reported by Seneca, the task of educating children in ancient Rome was up to their mothers. In his writings, he exalted Cornelia, daughter of Scipio, and mother of the Gracchi brothers, who taught her sons to be loving, especially with women. Trust me, this topic is meant to be an encouragement for all of you, a spur for us as future women. We are not talking about religion, sexist politics, gender, or race. We're just arguing about the thousand shades of the word respect. Gandhi, whose nickname was Mahatma, meaning father, spread this message because we're all called to teach respect as fathers, mothers, sisters, friends. Instead, it is worldwide estimated that about 35% of women have experienced violence, psychological, physical, or verbal. It is, however, an equally indelible damage. Remember, women are not simply the percentages shown behind me on the screen, but could be seated next to you. So let's talk about some of them with their real names. I'm really sure that some of you will change their attitude after listening to the tragic story of Megan Meyer, who was exactly one of us. Megan was victim of cyberbullying by a close friend and her friend's mother. She took her own life in a dramatic way at the age of 13. Have a look at the movie Cyberbully so that you will feel Megan's same desperation and loneliness during her last days as a teenager. If you like or need, you could also follow the Megan Meyer Foundation on social media. Through it, her mother Tina is trying to help girls in need like Meg to avoid that this could happen again. She's trying to teach them that words can leave important wounds in the self-esteem of a daughter, a mother, a sister, a friend, a woman. Dear Megan, you will be forever one of us, and in your name, we will pay respect to each other, because we can all change something. Sometimes we tend to forget that also women's bodies deserve respect. Can you believe that in some countries, mothers and relatives still practice an often deadly medieval procedure called infibulation? Now, I will tell you about an amazing young girl called Waris Deary. She underwent this surgical procedure without any supportive anesthesia, which is inflicted to young girls from 4 to 12. The victims after that are abandoned in the middle of nothing. And just a few days later, their relatives go and check if they survived. If you dare, I invite you to watch Waris' story, Desert Flower. I personally couldn't resist not screaming at the view and discovering about such a terrible destiny, such a terrible fate. Waris Deary is currently Somali ambassador at the United Nations, where she fights to abolish this abominable use. Waris, we will stand with you because we can all change something. Often, a birthplace could decree the woman's destiny in the future. I'm sure you will no longer ignore that the condition of women in many countries is deeply different and far from our life condition. Think about this. We are every day able to sit with our classmates at lunch, with none of us buried alive because we disobeyed to our father or we didn't want to sleep with an older man. We are not condemned because we dared to put jeans on or to attend university. We are not ending up in prison just expressing our free thoughts, or because we dyed our hair pink like Barbie or blue like a carefree unicorn. Today, we can't omit what happened just a few Saturdays ago in Israel, and we should all reflect on Noor Gamani's sad story. Her eyes, her plea for help, were cruelly slammed on all websites by her captors. But we can say something to those great dastards. Cowards, you chose her because you know in the very bottom of your empty minds about the importance of each one of us being a woman. She's a girl of today and a woman to be, and she must be liberated because we can all change something. Concluding, now we all know that despite laws and regulations affirm that women have the same rights as men and are supposed to be treated equally, still today, unfortunately, November 3rd, 2023, it doesn't happen. Eso no pasa. Ne se passe pas. Tabou hay fashion. Non avviene. Now, we know that millions of girls in the world grow up every day facing challenges more difficult than our chemistry test or AP history. They have no voice, they have no future, and they cannot choose. But you can change the laws, you can change the mentality, you can receive and show respect. You can be a young girl of today and a future woman who deserves respect. Because in some way, you could change something too. Trust yourselves, so we will change something too.